to.
Good morning and welcome to Therapy Tuesday with Dr. Geraldine Tan from the therapy room. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning. I miss Glenn. I miss FD.
We're back.
I miss you too.
Good morning, Dr. Jerry.
Good morning, Angel.
Okay, so Jerry, today we're talking about bullying. Why are we
Yes.
talking about bullying? Is this a problem now in schools or in society? What are we talking about here? Kids or
You've been
adults?
hearing that, whether it was in the papers about the Pasar Malam incident, the train incident.
Wait.
I didn't hear
what
about
Pasar
either
Malam
one, yeah.
incident and what train
I
incident?
mean, Chris Hansen was sharing and chatting about it, and he was saying, I think in the Today Online or one of those media on articles online, where the guy was at the Pasar Malam, and there was no seat, so people were telling him, just come earlier lah, or so he was being put down, or a young girl who had to break fast on the train, and people were putting her down. The lady beside her was putting her down and saying that you cannot do that. But she was trying to be very discreet about it. She said a prayer. She took her little bar, and she was being put down for that. So there were articles that were coming out. I think what really sealed the deal that I wanted to talk about it today was, when Therapy Tuesday comes the day after my mother support group, I get a lot of emotions. So we had a new mother who just lost her daughter, and in the diary, the daughter wrote that she was being put down for not being good enough. She was not enough for the friends. The guys rejected her. The group of friends kind of ostracized her. And she said, I wonder how my friends would feel if I really left. And she really left.
How old was she?
17, 18.
Oh my gosh.
And I think my heart really breaks that parents have to open the door. I mean, I left, and I when I left the session yesterday, and I go like, oh, my heart, I don't know how much I can do that,
Yeah.
But
I don't know how you handle it. Week in, week out. I mean, listening to these
no,
stories.
it's only once a month. And
Once a month, right? Okay.
my heart breaks because parents have to open the door to a lifeless body, and that's not no parent should be ever subjected to that. And I think the girl was very articulate in her diaries, and she wrote down, and the mother was able to share it with us. And I really want to put it out there that when we say things senselessly and mindlessly, it really stings, and we don't know where that would lead the other person or what the other person to do. So let us really remember, to be mindful of our words, because, and it's not like we are mindless all the time, but this really, we're talking about bullying.
Yeah. But it's so easy to just let the words come out. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
mean, even if we're not bullying, sometimes we do say things that we don't
We
mean.
do.
Because
Yeah.
we talk before we think.
Yeah.
And we don't expect the person to be so hurt as to take his or her life
No,
after
oh
that.
my
You
God,
know what
that's
I
the
mean?
Nobody
worst,
expects that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even if it,
Let me define bullying. Okay, so it's not the once-off sort of comments that kind of hurt someone and push someone to that corner. It is when there's intent to hurt,
yeah.
where it is repeated, where you would not let up even when the person says stop, or you
Yeah.
can see distress in the person's face,
And-
where you leave the person feeling very hopeless or vulnerable. That is bullying.
And it's
Right.
malicious.
Very passionate.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
you
no,
should
no,
be.
you should
Thank
be.
you.
No, which is why, I mean, when I heard that we're talking about bullying today, I was thinking, like, look, if we had children and our kids were being bullied in school, how would I react? You know, I would go down there and slap the kid.
But you can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't, but
No,
maybe
you
I
can't.
will because I'll be so irritated, right? That the school's not taking action or whatever. And this kid is just putting my kid down. And in order to save my kid, because someone needs to do something, you see?
Yeah.
If you don't do anything, the kid will feel even more helpless. But me, as the kid's parent, right? If no one else is doing it, I've got to take matters into my own hands.
And you've already got like a one up because a lot of kids don't even say that they're being bullied.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
then they look like the weak ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they'll be bullied even more when somebody finds out that they've ratted on them, you know.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult.
And imagine,
tough.
right? Imagine some parents, right, telling their kids to do the right thing and just ignore these bullies, and
because they're just looking for a reaction.
and so every day they know they're not allowed to
do anything.
retaliate or
Yeah.
even say things to the bully because you're going down to the bully's level or
Correct,
something like
correct,
that.
yeah.
And then these kids
Yeah.
just feel even worse on a daily basis because they want to do something but they can't do anything.
because parents are saying don't do anything. And
Correct.
so what do the kids
What does
do?
the kid then do?
or
We'll
anyone?
come to that in a little bit, but we probably need to look at the different types of bullying first, right?
Okay.
Yeah, we need to identify the different types of bullying. So top on my list with this generation would be cyberbullying. And we know the verbal bullying, the physical bullying. I think nowadays the children are a little bit more sophisticated, so the physical part doesn't come out so
Yeah.
much. But the verbal part, oh my gosh, the prejudice bullying, or yeah. So when someone has a different behavior, or different race, or different personal religion, but sometimes religion also, and they comment about it or they mock it, yeah, that is also bullying. Sexual bullying is also another one that is quite common in schools nowadays. It's quite interesting. But I also want to highlight a very troublesome group of bullying or group of bullies, which is the can't be bothered. So I coin them as the can't be bothered because they are probably disordered. They have no empathy, and they just keep on doing without fear of authority. So yeah, they just keep on bullying.
Wow.
So
So they're
that
not
was
they're
it.
not afraid.
No.
But then they're not afraid because really, how much power does a school have these days with parents who are so protective of their children?
And
How
they
much real
should be
power?
protective.
And how much
over
power
their
does
children.
a school really have?
So who are these bullies, right? So if we look at the different, so just now we look at the types of bullying, but who are these bullies? These bullies could be ex-victims. That means they were bullied themselves. So you don't bully me, I will bully you first. Some of them are the what I call the king, because they have power and they misuse the power. They don't know how to use the power. Then you have who I call the charmers. So they are like your popular kid. They can rally everyone. They get everyone in, and they're quite manipulative in that sense. Then with the charmers, they have the scared ones, those that hide behind either the king or the charmers. And then the Iceman, the can't be bothered one, I call them the Iceman. They just love torture. So
You know, we were talking about this earlier before you came on, Dr. Jerry, and we were saying, do parents actually know when their children are bullies?
sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So for the Iceman, probably the behavior can be very consistent at home and in school because they are cold, they are emotionless. If they have a disorder, their behavior can be quite consistent. The one that I call the king, parents are very proud of them for achieving whatever that they achieve. So they might not see, they might miss it. The rest would be hard to kind of discern because maybe their behavior can be different in the different environments. So we were looking at 5 different types of bullies, right? And it is sometimes quite difficult for us to see. Only one type would be quite obvious where they are consistent, their behavior is consistent in the home environment and in the school environment and maybe any other environment. So that's the who I call the Iceman, who likes torture or probably have a disorder. Then you have the ex-victims, the charmers, the king, the scared. Those may be a little bit more difficult to discern whether they are the bullies or not. I think I was saying these type of bullies in response to also FD's question, which is whether the school can be involved. Now, yes, the short answer is yes. When we are able to identify the type of bullies they are, then we can target what we can do for them. So for the scared, is it that they have lower self-esteem? For the king, if they acquire the power and they don't know what to do with the power, can the teacher guide them? For the ex-victims, do they need to process their own trauma? Do they need to process their own bullying so that they learn not to put up that hard facade and learn to have compassion and that people can be nice to them? They don't have to be defensive all the time. So once we know the type of bullies, the school can come in.
But Jerry, do we actually spend time counseling these bullies, or are we all preoccupied with the child getting bullied?
I was just going to ask, what are the schools actually doing?
Yeah, what are they actually doing for the bullies?
It's a very good question, and maybe whoever that today is not a school holiday, but if any of the teachers are out there, you can always, or ex-teachers for that matter, you can put the comments in the Facebook. I would not know every school what they do with the bullies or the bullied, but I do know there's the bully, and the bystander. And actually, so that's the triangle, right? So psychology has a lot of triangles. So that's the bully. So if I do inverted, there's the bully, the bystander, and they hurt the bullet.
That's exactly what I saw on a video online yesterday, where a girl was getting beat up by a guy on a bridge in Singapore
I saw
somewhere.
that.
And this person walking by was just filming it and carrying on walking. I'm like, seriously? So that would be the bystander in the situation, right?
Yes.
That was
so
awful.
The bystanders are all of us who have witnessed or seen or heard any sort of bullying. And the bystander, to me, is actually more at fault than the bully.
Guilty as well.
But you see, this is what we, you can't tell people not to retaliate and then expect people to jump in and go help a girl who is getting beaten up by a guy.
No, but she was clearly trying to fight back, and she's a lot weaker than him, so she is retaliating.
Yeah, but what if some guy who's been taught like for the longest time, hey, just mind your own business.
Yeah.
He goes in there, he has to be prepared to fight, no?
Yeah, for sure.
If I am going to stop that guy from beating his girlfriend,
protect yourself.
I am ready to fight.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But this is not the culture.
No,
That's
and
the
also
problem.
the point here is, if let's say it is Glenn, and Glenn jumps in and fights. Not only is the bully legally wrong, Glenn is wrong for fighting. It's against the law.
No, for fighting, yes, for sure. But I have gone into situations where I've pulled apart a boy and a girl fighting as well. If I get hit and I hit back, then am I in the wrong?
Yes, you're not allowed to.
Well, if a guy hits me, I'm always in the right.
It's true.
It's because I'm a girl.
It's true.
That's what's going to happen.
What I mean?
Yeah.
So which is why I feel like, bullies need to get a taste of their own medicine. And
that I
everyone
agree
should
with.
just step aside.
That I agree
You know
with.
what I mean? Be it a parent, going down there to give this bully a piece of his mind or her mind or whatever, it's perfectly okay.
Sure.
But there's a whole bunch of people who will come in and say, no.
Yes.
Now you
Yeah.
are bullying this kid.
Yeah.
You as an adult. How can you talk to the
You
kid this
should
way?
know better.
No, I think it's perfectly fine.
Oh.
Any
Any parents need somebody to jump in there. Glenn Ong is
But
volunteering.
I
my
tend to
God.
agree with Glenn. If you're giving the kid a piece of your mind, fine. As long as you're not raising your hand to
Yes.
that kid.
No,
Yeah.
don't.
If
no
you're giving the
physical-
kid a
yeah.
piece of your mind, that you should be, because you are defending your own child.
Exactly.
But bullying is also verbal, right? I mean, the kid can cower to words as well. Would that make Glenn, the person who is scolding them verbally, also a bully because he's so much bigger?
You see what I
Well,
mean? That's
no,
why
I'm
I
just
said.
wondering.
The
Yeah,
wondering.
that's why I said.
definition of bullying. So that's why we need to go back to the definition of bullying, right?
Continuous.
If I'm rationalizing with the child, that's fine. I'm not raising my hand. I'm not hurting anyone. Okay. For the guy that was beating the girl up, right? If somebody went in and spoke to that person, you don't need to hit the other guy. You just need to say, "Oi." And you don't
that.
make him
Oi.
feel oppressed. You're not threatening the person. You're not causing, the person. You're not demeaning the person. Yeah, that's okay.
But the guy is
you're
already
saying-
losing his shit, no?
Yeah.
Jerry, if
Yeah.
you go there and
Yeah.
you say something, he's going to go like, you mind your own business. Why?
Yeah.
What, you want to get involved here?
Yeah,
I'll whack you, and then after that, I'll have to whack him. And then,
And
What
then a whole
happens
fight
then?
starts. You
And
see.
then it is self-defense, right? But what you can say is, this is wrong. I'm going to call the police. So you can resource yourself.
and
with
then the girlfriend
other-
being afraid of the boyfriend, when it comes to the police report, all of a sudden she'll tell the police officer, no,
No,
this
nothing
guy
happened.
came in and
Yeah, nothing happened, yeah.
hit my boyfriend.
And I was fine
one
with it.
one barbecue.
You know the best way is just go live on Facebook and start filming everything and go towards them and just say I'm live on Facebook right now.
and this is why people don't get involved.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Nowadays, especially.
And to that girl who was a victim you're talking about on the bridge and all that, this is also a reflection of her making a wrong choice in terms
And
of.
it's very hard to
no,
say.
I know,
though.
but what I'm saying here is that
Yeah.
people are going to think that way.
And it's very hard for people in that situation to pull away and to detach themselves from a relationship like that. Because I mean, you know that, Dr. Jerry. It's always followed by an apology. It's always followed by I'll never do it again. I love
And
you
they
and this and that.
behave
And
very well
yeah,
after
and then
that.
they believe them, and then they're sucked in again, and then it
Yeah,
happens
happens
again.
again, over and over and
And
over.
it's very hard for them to get out of it.
So people who are watching right now, if you're a teen or whatever, just remember, we always say this. I know it's easier said than done, but everything stems from your choices.
Yeah, you
in
don't
life.
have to go through what you're going
We
through.
do have a comment on our Facebook page who says that sometimes when you see someone being bullied, it's not so much physically getting involved with what's happening, i.e. tearing the two apart, but perhaps calling the authorities.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why nobody did.
You could call the authorities and hopefully they get down in time to sort it out.
But
If
we
you're-
don't know that. Someone might have called.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the way people were, I'm just talking about this one situation where people were just literally casually walking by. There were quite a few people, passers by, that just continued on their
I'm not
way,
surprised. I'm
Not
not
my-
surprised.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick up on what Glenn said, Someone might have called the authorities already. All the
Might.
bystanders have this thought. Someone else have so
I'm
many
sure
people.
someone
I'm
already
sure
has.
somebody has already called. I don't care how many people have called. Call
anyway.
again. Call
okay.
again. So the authorities know how urgent it is, and they're not going to reject your call. Don't be shy.
Yeah.
If you can't even intervene physically, you can't intervene verbally, at least resource the whole situation. So it really doesn't matter whether someone else has called. Call again, and it's
Yeah.
perfectly fine. No one's going to fault you. It is not a crime to call again. So that I can be quite certain of.
But then everyone will be standing by going, I'm sure someone's called, and then nobody has called at all.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what I
Assume.
mean? Because everyone thinks everyone else has called, right?
Yep. So don't assume. If you know the numbers and you are not in shock, call 999. You will reach Singapore. Is the easiest one. Just press 3 numbers. Yeah, so even if, let's say, you see somebody hurt and on the road and you forget 995, just call 999. They will route you to 995.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Interesting. We have a comment from Adrian on our Facebook page. If a child continuously intoxicates another with demeaning comments, turns the class against that child with false allegations, this is also bullying.
For sure.
It is definitely bullying, and all the others are under the scared category, or they are just following behaviors. So what someone needs to do, or the teacher needs to do, is to call it out.
But if the teacher doesn't know this, does the child go to the teacher and what does the child do?
So the child has to go to someone, the child has to go to the teacher. However, sometimes I hear this, but my teacher don't believe me.
Yeah.
Or even sometimes it's the bully is like a favorite of the teachers. You know what I mean? Because they can end up like that. They're really manipulative type, and then you know when a smaller child who's maybe not so popular and is being bullied goes to a teacher, they'd be like, yeah, but you're always complaining, or nobody ever believes what you say. So it's quite sad.
I think if the child can go to a teacher, the child can go to his or her parents. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Unless, of course, the kid has no parents or whatever.
it's hard to say.
Then go and look for your teacher or someone in school.
Yeah.
But other than that, right, it'll be ideal for a kid to go tell his or her parents that he or she is being bullied in school.
Yeah.
Over and above
then-
telling the teacher.
No.
If
Go
they
to the
can't,
parent first.
Okay.
Always confide in your parents first.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
I
and
love
then
this, yes.
and then
Yeah.
the parents can actually maybe go down to the school and inform the teacher
Because the parent
about
is
it.
the adult,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And they
Yes.
will have a
Yeah.
better way of communicating
Good
to
idea,
the
that,
teacher.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
this is
Well,
what I would
now
do.
I'm
Well done,
thinking-
non-parent.
Thank you.
So it's great in certain situations. Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate today. Many kids come back to me and say, the reason I don't want to tell my parents is they go to school and then I get added on another name. Oh, you're tattletale.
telltale.
You're going to tell, you're going to tell your parents, mommy's boy or daddy's girl, and they start to get more taunting.
Yeah.
And so because sometimes we don't know what these parents would do, you see, and the child is already in fear, so then they start to be even more fearful as to what the outcome might be.
Yeah, but you see, that's when you then go to the school. I would then go to the school and talk to the whole class. The problem is, not many parents, will be willing to do that.
No,
Not
of
many
course not.
schools
You know what
will
I mean?
allow the parents to get
Exactly,
up
But
there.
yeah.
I want
Yes.
that relationship
Yes.
with my kid where my
Yes.
kid can tell me anything, and I'm there
Yes.
to protect my kid up to a certain age.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? It is my responsibility to protect my kid.
Of course.
And if anyone is bullying my kid, I would go down and have a talk with that kid.
But I also think that it is the school's responsibility to be protecting the children when they are under their care.
The schools are useless.
Am I right, though? I mean, because your parents hand over the kids to the school for 6 hours or whatever it is, and it is their responsibility to make sure that the kids are safe.
Yes. And there is an appeal by many of the teachers, that if your child has a disorder, if your child has an issue, please let us know. So the teachers want to know so that they can manage it and it doesn't become a bullying incident, so that your child don't become a bully and they cannot protect the other children. So they want to protect the child that has the issue as well as the rest of the students that may bear the brunt of whatever behavior this child displays.
Okay,
So Cindy on our Facebook page has picked up on what Glenn said, and she says, I do feel the same as Glenn feels, but most schools will not allow parents to talk to the entire class.
Of course.
Or even talk to the bully.
I'll go there and hammer the principal. Let me just tell you that. I won't mess around with my kid.
Yeah.
I'll bring in all my lawyers. And
You're one of
before
those,
that, I'll go
okay.
there and I'll threaten to hammer the principal. No one bullies my kid.
Yeah, but it's hard to handle because
No,
the
no, no, no.
school's got its own rules.
You can always do. You kick a few people, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, at the risk of having my
I
kid
understand where you're
be
coming from.
emotionally disturbed.
Yeah,
no
for
way.
sure. For sure.
I'll
Yeah.
bring a tennis ball and use it and throw it at the principal.
Hantam bola. Dr. Jerry,
Yes.
you were talking about mommy's boy and daddy's girl and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
bullies more male or more female?
Oh, both. It's quite equal nowadays.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And you think the boys are bad, the girls can be just
are
as
worse.
vicious.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the boys tend to be a bit more physical. Well, in the past, now, cyberbullying and everything has caught up. The girls can be so mean with their words. I'm not sure, Angel, whether you have had experience before, but growing up, I know I've had plenty of experiences with mean girls before.
Yeah, I had, yeah.
the fat one. I was
no.
the, unpopular. Yeah. So always fat shamed,
wow.
put down. Yeah. So these girls were harsh. And when they ostracize and make sure, I think I think Glenn or Flying Dutchman mentioned that they allowed no one to come close to you. Oh my gosh, they isolate you. So bullies love to do this. They love to isolate the victim. To
Yeah.
I
ensure
pity their
that they
husbands in
don't
future.
Hopefully they've learned something along the way.
Yeah.
But I suppose why I'm bringing it up is because we also do hear it leading to, I think earlier I mentioned about a death of a young one, depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, social withdrawal, and the bullies go on with their life, but this poor person, the poor victim, suffers it throughout their lives if they don't obtain help or they don't know that they are actually okay, because they usually think that they are not good enough.
Yeah. That's very sad.
Yeah. You see, I can completely understand if physically, like a smaller individual is being bullied by a big individual.
Yeah,
You know,
that's a big difference.
that's a big difference
in size and all that.
But if two individuals are of the same size, then that person should not be bullied.
I've got to say that, I was bullied in school, but it was never a one-on-one. It
Oh,
was
so it's a
the
group.
person bullying me always had 4 or 5 people behind him.
That's a coward.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a coward.
Yeah, and you grow up later as you hit your teens, you realize he's nothing but a coward. Take the
Exactly.
4 people away from him.
And he's nothing.
he's nothing.
Yep.
You should have complained to your parents. Right?
I had
I mean-
a different set of parents, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's always that I will call it power, some tips, right? So 3 things only, very fast. We want to shift the power. We want to shift the power away from the bully to yourself. We want to have power in numbers. They have power in numbers. So when you resource yourself, you have power in numbers. That's why I say call 999, tell mom and dad, tell the teachers, tell a friend. Oftentimes I say, it's difficult to tell the teachers. Tell a friend, tell another friend, and you shift, you obtain power in numbers, and then the power within. So believing in yourself. So that would be the 3 powers: shifting power, power in numbers, and power within.
Yeah, let's
Easier
hope it.
said than done.
Let's hope it doesn't get to the level of The Glory. Yeah, we've all watched the Korean drama. You haven't
seen
watched it yet.
that,
That's
yeah.
horrible.
No,
That's
I don't
horrible.
wanna.
But I think as the years go by, we might reach that level. And I think when we reach that level, the police need to get involved.
I don't
Yeah.
want to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The police need to get involved. It should be made. It should be easier to report these bullies to the police.
For sure.
I
For
I
sure.
agree
hope
with
the
that.
police force they look into this.
Yeah.
Because I think for the longest time it's always so difficult. The moment
Yeah.
you go and you go to a police station and you make a report, they make it so hard for you. You're there for 2.5 hours,
Yeah.
3 hours,
Yeah.
and a report after report. It's kind of a deterrent for many people.
I mean, and then when it comes to children, it's a whole different ballgame
Exactly.
because they have to treat everything so differently from adults.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
they need a special bullying unit.
I think so
think
too.
so,
I
yeah.
think so.
I agree.
Anyway, thank you very much, Jerry. Any last words before you go?
Yes. So often we say, we keep quiet, we don't retaliate. But I would say don't mistake the silence for weakness, because Mozart once said, the music is not in the notes, but in the silence between.
Oh, nice.
Thank you,
Dr.
Jerry.
Thanks,
Thank
Jerry.
you very much. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye bye.